Hi everyone, Maggie May here, and today I'm going to do a quick and dirty introduction into how to find audiences to target for cold traffic. So this will be people who don't know who you are, don't know what you're about, have never seen you before, and how to find them using Facebook ads when you're doing your targeting. So the number one place I go to once you're in Ads Manager to find a new audience that would be relevant to my target is to use Audience Insights. This is a free tool provided by Facebook and based on all of their data that they collect on users. So when it shows up, you want to select everyone on Facebook. And there are lots of different ways to use Audience Insights. I'm just going to show you the basics, and I'm going to keep it to the United States. So of course, I live in Canada, so sometimes I want to target specifically Canadians. There is some data. The household and the purchase data is only available to residents of the United States. So it really does depend on who you're targeting. In this case, I'm going to do some research, killing two birds with one stone for my client, Tina Messick. She is a gluten-free baker based out of Jefferson, Iowa. So I'm going to see what kind of cold traffic that I can build for her. So she only lives in the United States. Something that I usually just leave when I'm trying to target cold audiences is the age and the gender. Now, if you had a gender-specific product, of course you would not want to be looking for men or women or vice versa, or the same thing with the ages, but in this case I'm going to leave it just is. The number one place where I try to find new cold audiences is under interests. So this can be interests based off of lifestyle, it can be interests based off companies that they like, it can be Facebook pages or public figures or anything like that. Most Facebook pages, once they hit, it used to be 100,000 followers, would show up in the interests here. Sometimes you will find them in here, sometimes they won't. So it's kind of a hit and miss, and there's no real logic if there's a particular audience that you're trying, where you know your target follows. So somebody for me, for SEO could be Neil Patel, who is an SEO guru, and he shows up on here, and you can add him in here. So when it comes up, I'll just show you how this works. Under demographics, there's two colors. There's the blue and the gray. The blue is your audience, and the gray is the statistics of everyone on Facebook. So for the audience that people following Neil Patel, there are mostly women between the age 25 and 54, as well as men between the ages of 25 and 45. And there's, I want to say, a left shift, that's a technical term, towards men. So a shift towards men. If you go down to lifestyle, you can see what kind of lifestyle this is. This is all, if you click on the hover over the eye, it'll tell you. So tenured proprietors are soccer and SUV households, are large upper middle income families located in the cities and surrounding areas who typically have EQ'd and net worth of $500,000 or less. Now that's a lot of information, and you can get really specific with this kind of stuff. You can find out their relationship status, their education level. And if you've ever built a customer avatar sheet where you worked out who your ideal avatar is, a lot of this stuff you'll draw upon. And you can do this vice versa, but you'll say, okay, am I targeting people who have grad school? Am I targeting people who just have college? All that kind of stuff. So that's one way to do it. Under page likes, you can actually find other pages that might be more relevant to your audience, or you can try to build a custom audience over a couple different pages. So with Neil Patel, other people who like Neil Patel are also liking Digital Marketer, Russell Brunson, Moz, Amy Porterfield, and it just keeps going. Of course, location. It's only showing the United States because I only have the United States up here, but you can go to top countries and say United States. If you X the location, you'll see that actually for the people who like Neil Patel, the majority of them are Brazilians, and in India, which I find really interesting. Wow. So that's something, top languages, if you're trying to target a specific language. So there's lots of really interesting information and activity. So if you're doing an ad where your objective is to click, you want to make sure that your audience actually has a tendency to click. Do they like pages? Do they click on ads? This is all really valuable information, and you want to match what you see in here with your custom avatar, your ideal client. So I'll go back to the United States, and I'll go back to what I was trying to do before, which was gluten-free. So let's just type in so I want to find people who eat gluten-free regardless of why. Now, Tina also does products that are for the top 8 food allergens, but I'm going to not target that narrow unless I have to. Right now I'm just going to stick to gluten-free. So gluten-free mama, I'm probably going to guess is used to be able to click from here over to her page, is a food blogger, is my hypothesis. Let's find out. So she is a food blogger. It looks like she has her own products, recipes, tips, and more, gluten-free mama. She has over 300,000 followers. So this is, from my first look, this is probably somebody who would very much have a target audience similar to what Tina is looking for. So I'm going to go a little deeper. I hate the hover. So men and women. So obviously 96% of all women, so that is pretty much correct. A huge proportion in the 35 to 44, I would say that's pretty accurate. So we're looking at people who are on the go, that tenured proprietors. Again, we read that. I like that one because they have disposable income, because gluten-free products just naturally are more expensive because of how they're produced and the ingredients that go in there. I'm not going to sit and read through all of these. Most of them are married. So this is all kind of sitting in exactly to the kind of person I would want to target for Tina's cold audience. But the problem is, if you look up here, it's only 150 to 200,000 active people. Now, when you're targeting a cold audiences, the consensus is right now that you want to target between 500,000 and 2 million. You don't want to go above and you don't want to go too low, because it's for cold audience and you kind of need that range for Facebook to optimize your ads for. So I want to find more people like gluten-free mama to add to my list. So I'm going to go to page likes, and I'm going to go down here and see if there's any of these that would be relevant. Now I open them up in a new tab so that I can get a feel of their actual products. So Gluten-Free Living is a magazine, and that's probably a good one. Gluten-Free Homemaker. Again, here's another blog, so I like that. So what I'm going to actually do is go over here and I'm going to type these in. So gluten-free. So gluten-free living, and I'm going to do gluten-free homemaker. So that gave me more active audience, 300, 350 to 4, but I want more, so I'm going to keep going. Gluten-free on a shoestring. I don't necessarily know that that will be a target that I want to. Shoestrings tells me budget. So my gut instinct for this one is it's probably okay, but off the top of my, you know, off the top of my head, my gut's telling me no. So sometimes this is a gut instinct. You'll notice that this is searched by, ordered by relevance, but you can also do affinity, and this is how likely your audience is to be to like a given page compared to everyone on Facebook. So you can sort them by either way. Carolyn Bryan, I'm pretty sure she is an baker and pastry chef based out of New York City. That's not necessarily who I want. The best gluten-free recipes isn't really gluten-free Carla. So she's making recipes. That's not exactly who I was going after. My gluten-free kitchen. And you just keep going until you get your target. So again, it's recipes. So I'm kind of getting into audiences that are too small. I might add gluten-free on a shoestring. No, I'm going to trust my gut. So then I want to see, okay, what are some other options? So in categories, there might be some more options up here. Let's take a look. So the Celiac Disease Foundation is actually probably a really good one. Gluten intolerance group. I'm all right clicking these. And just to see. Now another one, of course, is Bob's Red Mill. And he creates natural foods. If you're gluten-free, you are familiar with him, and he probably has demographics. So Facebook takes all of these interests and compiles them. So you always want to make sure that you're still within your demographics of your ideal avatar that you're wanting to try to target. And of course, there's location if you're trying to actually target specific locations. When you really want to get fine-tuned, let's say you have a really large audience and you want to get even smaller, sometimes you can start to target by location. Obviously, Portland, Oregon has a very food-conscious society and community. So if this was a really, really large audience, I could fine-tune it by only targeting people in Oregon. But I don't have to worry about that at this particular time. Something I didn't show the first time around too is, again, only available for the American citizens, is household income. So which tax bracket are they in? Do they rent or do they own? This can give you an idea of who they are. Their spending habits. Do they charge by credit card or they pay primarily by cash? And their purchase. So this is their online purchase history. So everything in here is pretty statistically average. You know, they tend to buy online household products, health and beauty, food and drink. So you just want to make sure that, you know, we're in the right 82% of my selected audience right now does purchase online compared to 76 of the average Facebook user. So, you know, you want to make sure that you're actually picking an audience that will do what you wanted to do based on your intention. And of course, if they're in market for a vehicle. So there's some really good information in here. So I could just stay with this audience exactly how it is, but I want to see, some of these other ones. So this is the Celiac Disease Foundation, so I'm going to add that. They didn't have a lot of followers, so that is fine. I'm going to see if any of these is in the 6 digits. So Beyond Celiac. So you'll notice here Beyond Celiac is not coming up. And that is what I meant before, where sometimes it's hit and miss of whether they actually come up. And if they don't come up, you actually can't target them. So the Humbled Homemaker actually doesn't tell me what she's about. She's not specifically gluten-free, so I'm not going to actually target her. Let's see if I can add her. So that bumped me up. I'm adding her because I suspect that she has an audience, and I could always take all these out and find out, but I suspect she has an audience who's more health conscious, so I wanted to include her. Udis, if you're gluten-free, you've had Udis. So we added them. And gluten-free-licious. So gluten-free-licious is not coming up, so I won't be able to add them, but that's okay because my audience is 1 million to 1.5, and I'm really happy with that for a cold audience. And that's all you have to do. So once you have your audience and you double check that it actually is meeting a demographic that you like, and upon first look, I am happy with this. You're going to save it. So I'm going to go up in here and save, and I'm going to give it a name when it lets me. There we go. And I'm going to just call it gluten-free. And then when I'm ready to actually create the ads, I will just then go, you can create an ad just exactly from here, or when I go into Power Editor, which is a whole nother story, I will create an ad using the audience for gluten-free. So that is how I find an audience for a cold audience, for a brand new ad to send to cold traffic for people who don't know what the product or the company is about. There is, of course, other strategies for warm and hot audiences. Those are separate videos. I'm not going to do those today. But if you're having problems trying to figure out who your audience is, then definitely use the tools that I showed you today. So have a great day. It is sunny here in the sunny Okanagan, and I will talk to you soon. Thanks. Bye.